must have seen the UK change a lot.
Quite a bit. I mean, I've seen, everywhere kind of change everywhere that we've traveled. We've been doing this a little over 30 years. Yeah. So, a lot of changes. But every once in a while you stumble into, a familiar place and, or park in the same parking spot that you parked in, a couple decades ago.
Yeah.
So
I remember when that place had the garage where it had the netting above, and the Bouncing Souls played, and all of our friends went. And for True Believers, our friend Tom got brought up for the second verse, and it's like memories. And it's changed a lot, but the energy in that room, I still get excited walking in there. I'm still a 15-year-old with a fake ID.
I'm very excited for tonight. Yeah, there's been some great memories here, and I'm thrilled to be here. We just have 2 more shows on this run, and then back to my beautiful family. So
there we go. And speaking of the people who are coming to the show, Hot Water Music have and you and everything you're involved with, and the acoustic tours and everything, there's like this huge, coming out the station, you see the people who are here for the show already, and it's already it's only 5 o'clock.
Oh, that's amazing.
You have a fan base, almost like a football club. We're just down the road from the Emirates. You have that kind of gravity to you and to the music that you play. People, you've got a lot of your fans are lifers.
Oh man, I'm honored to just be a piece of this puzzle of, this beautiful music community that we have. It never ceases to amaze me to be so far away from home and play a show. We just played the Joiners Arms last night in Southampton.
Yeah, legendary.
And it just felt like we lived in the neighborhood. It felt like we were part of their family, and that it never gets old, and it doesn't happen everywhere, which is probably why it feels so special. When it does, but for the most part, most of the places we travel, we're coming in contact with like-minded people, with people who grew up looking at music as a form of therapy or a way to overcome our obstacles and become better humans, better friends, a better community through the power of music. And there's so many people across this globe that sees along those same lines, and I just feel incredibly lucky to have have found those people at a young age who taught me and showed me like this is what this can do for you, and changed my life, changed all of our lives for the better. I mean, you and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the bands that we cared about, and somebody handing us a record or showing us a lyric sheet that broadened our perspective and just made us think, feel, fight, question.
Hell yeah,
it's a thrill.
We grew up together.
Yeah.
Even from a distance, even if we don't know each other, we grew up together.
100%. Yeah.
I've been thinking a lot about my neighbours, and how after living in the same spot in Southeast London for nearly 10 years, we have like 5 different neighbours that can look after our cat. Yeah. In the holidays, my partner makes pickles for them. Yeah. Like how important neighbours are. And I wondered if you have a memory, recent or a while ago, where you had an interaction or an experience with a neighbour.
With my neighbours?
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I live in a very special community. Our neighbors are absolutely wonderful, and they feel like family. And there's where we live, there's people help each other out. Yeah. Whether it be something with your home or your yard or your family or the kids, or and not to mention, there's a lot of bartering that goes along in our neighborhood, and some people raise chickens, and this person raises beef, and this gentleman leaves baskets of pomegranates out in the driveway for people to grab when they it's one of those type of places. And our neighbors are very special and crucial to my family and I, and yeah. So, I mean, on a daily basis.
That's awesome. It's good to remember countries that are next to each other, and countries who are in war at the moment seem to be the ones next to each other fighting about being neighbours. And it just seems, look, I know those are big conversations, but I feel like it can be boiled down ultimately to being kind to your neighbour.
100%. Yeah. I mean, that's the sad thing, really, right? It's the simplest thing that all of us had learned for the most part from a young age is just treating people the way that you want to be treated, right? Yeah. And it's something that we all need to stay mindful of and connected with, for sure.
Big time. 101 part-time jobs, whether it's music or like regular work, like working at bars or paving driveways. You designed some hot sauce logos. You take fishing trips. Yeah. What is a memorable interaction with like a colleague that you've had, like someone that you've worked with who left like a indelible impression on you, or someone that you learned something from?
Yeah, I could answer that 1,000 times over every day, and think of someone else that had affected me in a positive way. The first person that comes to my mind is, as far as music goes, is Frankie Stubbs from Leatherface. Yeah. Just I learned so much from him, not only just of music and having passion for it, and but like he's a poet, and his writings, his lyrics really made me kind of look at the world in a different way, in a different light, in a different color, and pay attention to the smallest things, because in so many ways, like everything, all of this, all of us, we're all connected. This is one thing happening at once. And
it's not a mushroomy thing. It's a real thing.
Yes.
I mean, mushrooms are real as well. But,
No, but truly, Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Who did you learn your ethic from, your work ethic?
Most likely my parents. My father was the one who taught me. He was a professional golfer, and he was a very well-known professional golfer back in the late 50s and all through the 60s, and was a Ryder Cup team player and played the tour for many years. And it was his passion. It was all he did his entire life. And he taught me to always have that take no prisoners attitude, that you give it 110% until you can't give any more, and then give it a little extra, just for good measure, kind of. And that was my dad, and he was a beautiful spirit, beautiful man, a hard worker, and he had always taught me to do the best I can. And if there was ever something that I loved to do or wanted to do, if I ever wanted to get better at it, I needed to surround myself with people who were better at it than I was, right? My mother was an entertainer and toured her entire life from, I think, 11 or 12 years old was kind of the first time she started traveling.
Wow.
In her entertainment business. She was a ventriloquist and a singer, and a comedian, and who traveled in evangelism, right? And then she traveled all the way up until about 6 months before she passed, before we lost her. 2 months. 2 months before we lost her. So literally her entire life. And I have a ton of respect for her work ethic. That's probably where I get a lot of my sickness in staying busy and getting too many plates spinning and always just moving, going. Yeah, she was just relentless. Yeah.
She must have had a great sense of humor.
Oh yeah, she was
being a ventriloquist.
Yeah, she was pretty special.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
And speaking of having a bit of fun, we prepared a little bit for you because we know that you're a keen fisherman. Obviously, you take fishing trips when you're at home.
Yeah.
But as a fisherman, I wondered what the different types of fish that you've caught have been and how big they are. So I got this. It's not a churros. What kind of fish would that be? And have you caught something that size? You just unroll it a little bit.
It looks like a drum of sorts.
Oops.
But it doesn't have the red. It could be a sheep's head.
Yeah.
Yeah. It could be. Yeah.
You caught one of them?
I've caught sheep's head, sure. Yeah. That could also be barbel from over here. Is this a fish from here or the States?
Not sure its etymology or geographical location.
Yeah.
Or is that? I'm not sure you'd find that in the Thames. You don't find many alive things in the Thames. But we've also got one a little bit different size. Oh no! So we've got this one.
Your fish laying around.
This one. You face the camera. What do you think that one is?
Looks like a carp. Looks like a big carp.
Yeah.
To me.
Kind of angry, isn't he?
Yeah, they're not angry. They're just looking for something to eat. Aren't we all?
You caught one of them?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
We've got this big guy.
Oh. Let's see who this is.
Whoa.
Wow, you put a lot into that thing. Is he upside down?
No, there he goes.
Oh no. Okay.
You got that, Nick?
Looks like a milkfish. It's like a milkfish.
He's not vegan then.
Yeah. What kind of fish is this to you?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Eva, my partner, my fiance, did this.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. Beauty.
It's a good sense of humor.
Yeah.
So have you caught one of these?
Milkfish I've never caught. I don't if that's what it is.
What is the biggest compared to this? How big is the biggest fish that you've caught?
Oh. I mean well, probably the largest would have been about a 400-pound nurse shark.
400 pound.
Yeah, you would have to take a few steps back.
Wow. Is there a fish that you have yet to catch that is your white
hundreds? Whale? Yeah, there's a lot of fish on the bucket list.
Yeah,
so to speak. But, yeah.
Have you ever read The Old Man and the Sea?
Yeah.
Great book.
Of course.
Yeah. Cool. Chuck, great. Thanks so much for the time.
Yeah.
Busy London day, so thanks, man.
I need to read that book to, is it Santiago? Yeah.
Santiago,
yeah. Santiago. And I need to read that book to my boy.
Yeah.
That'd be a good one.
Big time. And actually, I mean, I presume a lot of people like this, but, books that we read when we were kids because we had to.
Yeah.
They left a massive impression on me, but I'd love to read them again because I've definitely forgotten loads about
That's a classic. It's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah. Cool. Thanks, man.
Pleasure.
Yeah. Cheers for watching. This is 101 Part-Time Jobs. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, and all podcast apps. We've done interviews with Aurora, Kneecap, Idols, Lauren Maybury of Churches, and loads more. So tap into 101 Part-Time Jobs on Spotify, Apple, and all podcast apps.